Hi everyone, welcome back to the OmogeMuRa YouTube channel and welcome to today's video. It's September and September is a very interesting month for me because it is PCOS Awareness Month. PCOS, or Polycystic Ovarian Syndrome, is a hormonal / endocrine issue that affects a lot of women. Over 100,000 cases are treated in Nigeria, and I am one of those 100,000 women. I have PCOS. Every year in September, I do videos, I tweet, I share posts, I just do a lot of awareness. In today's video, I am going to be sharing my experiences with PCOS, what exactly PCOS is, and all of that stuff. Before I continue with today's video, please do me a huge favor and subscribe to the channel. It's just right there, and also click on the notification bell so you'll always get notifications of whenever I upload a new video. Without wasting any more of your time, let's get started with today's video. PCOS, Polycystic Ovarian Syndrome, which is the full name, as I said in the intro, is a hormonal issue. What happens is that women of reproductive age, so that means women that can have children, they have a hormonal imbalance. So women that have PCOS most of the time have an excess of male hormones. Everybody, man and women, have male and female hormones in their body. Men just have more male hormones and women have more female hormones. But if you are a woman and you have excess male hormones, it can lead to PCOS. PCOS is really interesting in the fact that you don't know you have PCOS until you do all these tests. Like, you have to do like a bunch of tests. You have to do a hormone panel, which is where they take your blood and they check the hormones in your system. And even that, because just because you have a hormonal imbalance does not mean you have PCOS. Some people just have imbalanced hormones and it goes back to normal. But when you have PCOS, it really affects your ovaries, and what happens is that your ovaries don't develop properly because of the excess male hormones in your system. They develop into like cysts. They can develop into cysts, or they just don't develop well, and those cysts can even get enlarged and get inflamed and get, you know, really nasty, and sometimes you have to have surgery for that. I had a scare, I think 2 years ago. I thought I was gonna go into surgery. I don't think I've ever told anybody this or said it on the internet before, but like I kept on going to the hospital because something was wrong down there. Like, something felt like it was swelling, but it turned out to be nothing. Some women, I am lucky, some women are not so lucky. Some of them, their cysts actually get infected, get inflamed, and they have to have surgery. And some cysts, like I did a lot of research at one point, and I saw some huge ass cysts coming out of women. I'm like, oh God, thank you God for your mercy, and thank you God for everything in my life. There are a lot of symptoms of PCOS, and the thing about the symptoms of PCOS is that they're very specific and at the same time they're very general. So one of the main symptoms of PCOS shows in your periods. If you're a woman and your periods are out of whack, out of sync, it could be PCOS. But the thing about like your periods being out of sync, it could be because you've had surgery, or you're on medication, or you're pregnant, or you could just have a hormonal imbalance. As I said earlier, I knew something was wrong with me in secondary school, but I did not know something was wrong with me. Like, I was that girl in secondary school that did not have periods. Like, I would always have a pad to give somebody, and people would be like, Deola, don't you need your pads? And I'm like, no, I'm good. I don't need them. So I knew something was up, but I didn't know how serious it was. And then I entered uni, and the same thing. I would not have my period for 6, 7, 8 months at a time, and those are one of the main symptoms of PCOS. You have irregular periods, or you have very, 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 very heavy periods. I've had two sides of it. So when I was in secondary school and when I was in uni, and even like when I went for my master's degree, I had no periods at all. But then I moved back to Nigeria, and I still had no periods, but sometimes I would bleed for a whole month. Like, for a whole full month, and just be bleeding. Like the woman with the issue, I was just bleeding everywhere. My mother has always been concerned about my reproductive health because I'm close to her about stuff like that. So once I moved back to Nigeria and I was telling my mom, yo, this thing is not, you know, I still ain't seeing my periods, she was very, very concerned, and she was like, yo, we have to go to the hospital. And that is how I found out I had PCOS. They did a hormone panel on me. They they did an ultrasound, is that what they call it, where they just like use that thing around your body, and then they said from the ultrasound they could see I have PCOS, but they wanted to confirm it. And I've spoken about this in my other video, in my past 2 videos, about how I had I did an intravaginal scan or thing where they literally stuck something up my vagina. That was interesting, but at the same time it was like, ooh, this is odd. They stuck up this like little scanner up my vagina, and they looked around and they could see the cyst, and they could see that my ovaries were not developed properly. So that is how they actually confirmed I had PCOS. That is how I was diagnosed, and that was my irregular periods were my main symptom. But the other symptoms that come up is excess hair. Women with PCOS have excess male hormones, so they get very, very hairy. I haven't plucked my hairs, but I have, well, it's very, very faint, but I have like at least 5 hairs that come up here. I pluck them out when they come out. I haven't plucked them yet because like I like it when there are a lot. I like when it's like fully formed, so I can just pluck everything out, and it takes like a month and a half for it to grow. But I get chin hair. I get very, very faint chin hair. I can feel one right now. You know how men have that line of hair that goes down their belly? I have that. Some people grow actual full beard. Some people are hairy on their arms and on their leg. The symptoms of PCOS are different from women to women. So as I have like a really faint, like really faint hairs here, some person might have a full beard. As I have no periods or heavy periods, somebody might actually have the heaviest periods. Like I was talking to somebody online the other day, and she was telling me that she has been bleeding for the past a month and a half. She went to the doctor, and the doctor, like, she started the medication that would stop her period, but like that is one of the, like, that is how extreme the symptoms of PCOS can get. Like PCOS can affect women in so many different ways, which is why it's very hard sometimes to actually like pinpoint that, oh, this is PCOS, because again, just because you have a hormonal imbalance does not mean you have PCOS. Just because you have irregular periods does not mean you have PCOS. Just because you have a hairy body does not mean you have PCOS. I mean, there are people out there who are just hairy. That's literally, like, there's some people that are just hairy. So these symptoms are specific to PCOS, but again, they're so general that it could be about anything. It could be just be genetics and things like that. Another interesting thing about PCOS I don't think people know or understand is that the heavier you are, the more weight you have, the more severe PCOS is for you. How it is that your body, like, because you have so much fat in your body, your hormones cannot go through all that fat. So you have a hormonal imbalance, and you already have a hormonal imbalance. So if you're obese, or if you're like very, very big, if you have a lot of weight, your hormones are already struggling to make your body work. So the bigger you are, the more weight you have, the worse your PCOS can be. So here's the wonderful thing about PCOS. Doctors really don't know what causes it. It's one of those things that, yeah, like, PCOS can be what's that word? I can't say words, right? Hereditary, which means it can be passed from generation to generation. I noticed the symptoms of PCOS in one of my aunties in particular, but I haven't had the chance to talk to her about it because I don't know. I just haven't, to be very, very honest. But she's like the auntie that I know might have PCOS because she has like a really, really significant, like, not like beard, but like you can see her hair. The number one thing PCOS affects in a woman is her fertility. Because your ovaries are not developing properly, your ovaries are your eggs. They're the story of what happens when you make a baby. The sperm meets the egg, but if you have sex and sperm meets a bad egg, there's no way a baby can form. So infertility is one of the biggest issues of PCOS, and it's the one thing that really scared me when I found out I had PCOS, because I've always wanted to have kids. And finding out that I have this thing that might not allow me to have kids, or might make it harder for me to have kids, just kind of fucked with me for a bit. Like when I found out I had PCOS, I was in this very dark place for the first year. I was really scared that I wouldn't be able to get married, I wouldn't be able to have kids. And this was even before I realized that I am more than my ovaries and I'm more than my uterus. I attached my self-worth to my body and attached my self-worth to my vagina and everything. When you grow up as a woman, your self-worth is really, really tied to what you can do for other people and not what you can do for yourself. And one of the things that you do for other people is, or do for other people, you do for society, you do for your husband, is have kids. So I was very, very worried that, oh my God, I'm not going to be able to have kids. I will not be able to get married. I will not be able to have children. I'm a failure. I'm not the perfect woman. I'm not a woman. Like, literally what defines a woman or what makes a woman different from a man is the fact that she can have kids. But this was like years ago, and my mental, my head, I'm out of that headspace. I don't think that way anymore. I've come to the conclusion that if I have kids, I'll be happy. If I don't have kids, I'll be happy as well. It's something that I have come to accept about myself. It's something that was very hard to accept. It's not like, this wasn't easy. I've come to the conclusion that if I'm gonna have a child, I will have a child. God will give me a child, and I don't have to carry a child to be a mother. I could get a surrogate, I can adopt, and I'm okay with that. It took me a while to be okay with that, but I am currently okay with that. PCOS can affect your heart. It can give you high blood pressure, high blood sugar, and it can actually lead to diabetes. So that's why it's really important that if you realize that you have these issues, if you notice that, something's just not right, your periods are irregular, you're hairy, the thing about PCOS is that it's very easy to say, oh, I have PCOS, but at the same time, it's very easy to say, oh, you actually don't, because the symptoms are very, general yet specific. I would say if you notice that there's something wrong, if you notice that you think you might have PCOS, it's a good thing to get tested. And I know not everybody has the privilege or has the money to like go out there and go through all these tests. So I completely understand that. But if you can, you should get tested so you have it out of the way, because treating your PCOS will help you to treat the other things that come with PCOS. So knowing you have PCOS is way better than just saying, oh, I might not have PCOS, It's better to be safe than sorry, because the side effects of PCOS are so fucked up. Like, you can get diabetes, you could get high blood pressure, you can get heart attacks, you can actually get cancer, because if you're not bleeding regularly, if you're not having your regular periods, the build up in your uterus can actually lead to abnormal cells growing. And we all know that cancer is when you have abnormal cells that are literally taking over your body. So the side effects of PCOS, or like the complications of PCOS, are very, very fucked up. Like, honest to God, they're like, it's like, oh, I don't have periods, but you can get cancer. That is how serious PCOS is. So I have spoken about like my experiences with PCOS and how I found out, and let me tell you guys how I'm currently dealing with it. So it means treatment. So when the first time I found out about PCOS, I was put on hormone therapy. I started taking birth control. I wasn't taking birth control because I was having sex and I didn't want to get pregnant, but I was taking birth control to make my periods regular. I was taking this birth control, and I realized that one, I was gaining weight, and two, my mental health was not doing the best. Like, my mental health was in the toilet. It was helping me because I was bleeding every month, but at the same time, my mental health and my body wasn't agreeing with it at all. So I was on birth control for almost a year and a half before I stopped. I just said, you know what, I can't do this anymore. So what I decided to do was to try my best to be as healthy as possible. A lot of people have said that once they started taking care of their health, they noticed that their symptoms got much better. So I decided that I was going to take much better care of myself. So I have cut soda out of my diet completely. Well, I'm saying this knowing that I drank Sprite like a week ago, but that was the first time of me drinking soda in 2 years. I cut out carbs, and I haven't cut out carbs to the point that I don't eat them anymore, but I've cut them out significantly. So my friends know that I can eat a full plate of chicken. Like, you can give me pieces of chicken and I'll eat that, but if you give me rice, I'll eat just a little bit of it. That is kind of like a modified keto diet. A lot of people that have PCOS, when they go on the keto diet, their bodies are like, it's almost like they're cured. And the keto diet is basically a diet high in fat and protein, and no carbs whatsoever and no sugars whatsoever. So I kind of have a modified keto diet where I eat a lot of proteins. I try my best to eat a lot of vegetables, but I still eat a little bit of carbs. So I'll still eat some pasta, I'll still eat some rice, I'll still eat some bread. I still love bread. I mean, it's so hard. It's so hard for me not to eat bread. But I have found a way to really reduce it and eat it in like really minimal portions, and I have seen that that really helps my body to the point that I now have regular periods. But I have the most painful periods in the history of periods. When I get my periods, I have to be doped up on meds. Like, I take a lot of painkillers just to help me cope with the pain of my periods. For the first 2 days, I'm out of it. I'm completely out of it. I don't know if the pain is a symptom of PCOS. I heard that very painful periods are a symptom of endometriosis. Oh God, as somebody will say, I went to school. God, that word, endometriosis. I'm gonna put it on the screen here because I can't say it for God's sake. But I heard that it's a really big symptom of that. So I don't think I have endometriosis I don't think I have that, but it's something that I really want to look into this in the next couple of months. I've gone to the gynae before about my painful periods, and he said I should come back for a couple of tests, but I never went back because I was scared. Having PCOS and then knowing that you might also have another thing is a very, very scary situation. So once the doctor told me I have to come back for tests, I was just like, peace. I ran away. But I know it's bad and I'm admitting it, but I know I need to go to the doctor and figure out if the pain is a symptom of PCOS or if the pain is a symptom of something bigger. So basically that is it about PCOS and everything I've been through and everything in my experience with PCOS. It is something that I'm dealing with, it's something I'm living with, and it's something a lot of women are dealing with and living with. If you feel like there's something wrong with you, it's a good idea to just get checked. And if you don't have PCOS, yay, but if you do have PCOS, do know that you are not alone. I'm here. Do know that apart from me, there are several women online that are dealing with PCOS. And do know that PCOS does not mean it's the end of your fertility. I know I said a bunch of stuff about me being scared I won't be able to have children and stuff like that, but you can have children with PCOS. I do see stories every day on the internet about people that found out they had PCOS, went through several hormonal therapies and things like that, and they have children. So again, just because you have PCOS does not mean you won't have children. But it's a good idea to know if you have PCOS so that you'll know how to deal with the complications of PCOS. Unfortunately, here in Nigeria, we do not have a PCOS organization. I have looked and researched and tried. I did find one organization on Facebook, but they don't seem to be doing anything. I always donate a little bit of money to the PCOS organization in America. But this year, I want to do something a little bit different. So you guys know I've been wearing a white shirt, and this is my Feminist AF shirt. I'm trying not to stain my shirt because it's white. I'm coming out with a collection of feminist-centric t-shirts. There are 3 t-shirts in the collection. This is the first one, the Feminist AF. Going to be coming out on Monday. Proceeds from the sales of the shirts from this collection will be going to Stand to End Rape organization here in Lagos, Nigeria. As you know, I have as a victim of sexual harassment and rape, and it's a cause that I have not been very public about, but I have decided that since there's no PCOS organization here in Nigeria for me to like do something with or lend my hands with or help with, put money in this other organization until somebody starts a PCOS organization. I will put the link to the organization in my description box if you want to learn more about them and what they stand for and what they do. So that is it about today's video. If you have any questions about PCOS, my experiences, or what, you know, if you're going through it and you want to know more, you can talk to me. You can just leave me a comment below, or you can DM me on Twitter, or you can DM me on Instagram. I am doing this thing where I'm accepting stories, PCOS stories, and I'm going to do a full blog post about it in a couple of weeks. I'm going to do it at the end of the month to kind of like wrap up PCOS Awareness Month. I just want this video to like let people or let women out there know that they're not alone. PCOS can be scary, but you should not allow it to scare you. You should not allow it to stop you from living your full life. You should not be worried that, oh, you won't be able to do these things or live this life. You know, you just don't allow it to ruin your life, or just, you know, don't allow it to fuck with you. But honestly, I just want people to know that this thing exists, this is what happens, and if you have it, there are ways for you to manage it. Thank you so much for watching. If you're a guy watching this video, if you're a woman watching this video, you can please share this video to other women and let them know this is for awareness. This isn't like, oh, I want views on this video. Please share with other people. Please let other people know that PCOS exists, and it's something that you have to be very, very serious about, because again, the complications of PCOS are very, very serious. Please do not forget to subscribe, click on the notification bell, give this video a thumbs up, and do not forget that you are awesome. Do not forget to be awesome, and do not forget to kick some ass. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.